do want to apologize. Um, as you can see, the note card is pretty much already filled out. That's because I'd already attempted to record this lesson, and let's say I kept talking and the phone had died, and I did not know that. So I went through this entire little spiel, and nothing was recorded. Um, but I'm just going to talk us through today. Um, and I think, yes, when we um, move on to different problems, I will walk us through the notes for when we have, let's say, um, well, I'll talk about it more, but a coefficient bigger than one. Okay. Now I know we didn't really get too much into quadratic formula. We just talked about the formula per se, and just working to see if we could, um, efficiently put the numbers into the calculator, and also if we could, um, for the students that like to do it by hand, see if you were actually getting the math correct that way. So there's there's going to be a lot of jargon, and just words that I may use that um, may be a little confusing, but I will try to always make it as as base level as I can. Okay. So in the quadratic formula, um, this is the formula here in black at the top. This is our formula. We have negative b plus or minus the square root. This whole thing, this is square root sign. All right. So let me go back and start over because I'm cutting myself off. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. And that is all divided by 2a. Okay? So remember, anytime a number and a letter are next to each other, we're multiplying. So we're multiplying 2 times a here. And then up top, we are multiplying, you see that? Negative 4 times a times c. Okay? Um, and you heard me use the word coefficient. That will come down to when we get to our actual problems. Um, but disregard that. So let's not worry about that right now. So we have our formula, and this is our standard form. All right. This is the form that you're going to see a lot when you're looking at classwork from different teachers, whether it's online or a test or an assessment or things like that. And I know for me, um, what I do is I kind of simplify that version also. Okay, so bear with me and I'll kind of explain that as I go. So in our standard form, we have, and I know it's going to sound weird because there's a lot of letters together. We were just on M, we were just on N, now we have X's A, B, and C. Don't worry about it. That's what a variable is for. It's just a placeholder. It's just a placeholder, okay? So we have in our standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. Now, what do you recognize in this standard form that you can see? I'm looking at my first two, x squared and x. Okay. So that's what I looked at first because I'm like, oh, those are similar things. So when you go down to your actual problem, as in number one, we have x squared minus 9x plus 18. Now here's the kicker. If you line it up with the standard form, ax squared, x squared, there's nothing there for a. So since there's nothing there, we're going to say 1. Remember, a variable by itself, there's a 1 in front of it. an imaginary one if you want to call it that. So ax squared, we have our x squared here. So a is 1. Let's say bx. So now we have negative 9x. Now, it is positive here, right? X squared plus b squared. That doesn't mean that any number down here is going to be positive. You still have to look at that sign, okay? That is very important. You still have to look at that sign. So backtrack. Ax squared, x squared, nothing in front, that is an a. Bx, bx, in the middle, my middle term here, is negative 9x. So my b is negative 9, okay? And c is your last letter. 18 was my last number. And that's what I put for 18, okay? Or that's what I put for C, excuse me. So one of the things I was saying, you have your standard form. A lot of times you will get work with just the standard form. And I know to start off with the beginning of our quadratic formula, your problems will just have A, B, and C, okay? You'll just have A, B, and C because I want you to be able to input those values into the formula comfortably, okay? So I don't want us to get all confused with the different standard form and how the equation looks. So to start off, you'll be looking at that. And I think that is, you can go back and look on to the bulletin board under pictures and you'll find early assignments of that, okay? And then we have our A, B, and C. Then we're gonna plug it in to our formula, okay? Now, remember, one of the things I do is I always kind of put parentheses when I put new numbers in or new information in. The parentheses reminds me that it's brand new, okay? It hasn't been touched yet. So, in that formula, negative b, so we have negative b, our b is already negative 9. So I already know a negative times a negative is a positive, but I want to make sure, I want to be 100% sure. So I leave it there. I just plug in negative b, negative 9. So that is negative b right there. My plus or minus, and I'm not sure if I said it before. It may have been on the video that I had to delete, but that plus or minus tells you that you're going to have a positive and a negative, all right, form of your equation. Not answer, just a form of the operation, the equation that you're trying to solve. You're going to have positive and a negative, okay? So, negative b, negative 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So b squared is still negative 9 squared, I'm filling that in, minus 4ac. So minus 4, a is 1, c is 18. So I have my top here, all right? And I felt pretty comfortable with that. I felt pretty confident with that, all right? So negative 9 plus or minus the square root of negative 9 squared minus 4 times 1 times 18. And that is all being divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So, and I know it's getting a little bit crowded here. So if you need to zoom in, please do that. I'm still looking at ways to kind of better my instruction for you guys in this way, because you know I'm always kind of talking and doing examples on the board, and as you can see, I just have little poster boards here, but you know, Mr. Kairos, I'm gonna find a way, right? I tend to do that, all right? So now, we go from, let's take it piece by piece. So I always try to do it piece by piece, because there's no point in rushing. You're gonna rush through your assignment, and then if you get something wrong, guess what? You gotta go back and correct it. So you may spend more time rushing and getting things wrong and going back and correcting them rather than taking your time the first time. You from my experience, I've seen their students take more time trying to get the work done. They just want to get the work done, and that throws off that learning that they have for that day because they're not taking it in, right? They're not taking it in. So what we need to do is just take it in, and that's why I'm so proud of each and every one of you for coming to Blackbot, joining the sessions, and actually keeping up with everything that's going on during these hectic times. Um, Believe you me, it is pretty hectic out there. So I'm jumping all over the place, but anyway. So we have negative b. So negative b is negative 9, which gives us positive 9, right? A negative times a negative gives us a positive. Okay? My plus or minus, negative 9 squared is 81. So when you square a number, you just multiply it by itself. So 9 times 9 is 81. Still underneath that square root, minus right here, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 18 is 72. All right? And that stays underneath that radical, just those two numbers. Okay? So we have 9 plus or minus the square root of 81 minus 72, all divided by 2. Okay? Let's break it down a little bit further. 81 minus 72 will give us 9. That is still underneath that square root sign. So, like we said, squared is a number multiplied by itself. One of the things that I looked at with square roots is, I look at the number, whatever's underneath, what number times itself will give me that number. And I know that may seem a little bit weird wording wise, but that's kind of how it worked in my head. Okay? So 9 plus or minus 81 minus 72 is 9. Square root of 9 divided by 2. The square root of 9 is 3 because 3 times 3 will give us 9. Okay? So now we have our equation. Not equation. We're on our way to our solution. Okay? So we have 9 plus or minus 3, because that's the square root of 9, all divided by 2. Now this, as you can see in this arrow, is where you get your two equations. All right? So it says 9 plus or minus 3 over 2, 9 plus 3 over 2, 9 minus 3 over 2. So you see, there's my plus and minus. All right? Plus and minus. And I got lucky here. 9 plus 3 is 12. Divided by 2 gives me 6. Then 9 minus 3 equals 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. And for the purpose of for my sheets, just write it. It's not a coordinate, but you're just writing your two numbers with a comma in there. So our answers are 6 and 3. 6 and 3 can go into, excuse me, 6 and 3 is our solution, okay? I was going to say something, but that's a little bit later on. Right now, we're just focused on the formula. So again, our formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. That is all divided by 2a. Okay? That's our formula. Standard form. ax squared plus bx plus c. Standard form, that's what everybody gets to see. It's the standard. It's what, it's the baseline. This is that standard form, the baseline form of a lot of times of how you're going to see your quadratic equations, okay? For your quadratic formula. All right? You break that down, you have your standard form. And one thing that could help you is on the side, you can write it across or write it down. You have your A, B, and C. fill those in. That will help you when you go to your formula because you have all your numbers there. Remember, it's about efficiency. You want to make sure that you have everything you need as you go along the path. Okay? So again, starting off with A, B, and C, some of the later work has the problems in standard form. And then there's some where we have, I believe, I think the highest it goes is maybe a 4 on our A. Okay? So I want you guys to give that a try this week. Send it in to me, and then if you do have questions, email or the text, or you can wait till Thursday. I would prefer you not wait if you really stumped. Go ahead and give me a call so I can kind of help you, and then on Thursday we can go back to it. So if there's any instance like that, please relay that to me sooner than later. All right. Um, the assignments are going to be on Blackboard under pictures. You can see the ones from last week and this week there. Again, thank you for participating in this online learning. I know it's a struggle, especially with everything going on in the outside world. So I congratulate you for sticking with it. I congratulate you for staying motivated, and I congratulate you for doing the right thing for you. All right, y'all take care. Quadratic Formula. I'll catch you on the next one.